Even as we speak, viewers, it's underway to go after those who think normalizing incest is funny. They organize these great shows, viewers, a whole group of degenerates. And I'm not calling them degenerates, it's a large number of Indians today who are calling them degenerates. And viewers, they think that cracking jokes about incest, getting people to feel awkward about doing activities with their parents, etc., is a big funny thing to cackle about. Now, viewers, the Mumbai Cyber Cell sleuths and Assam police have filed FIRs against Allahbadia and his other cackling cronies. You can see them on the right. Under stringent sections of the Indian law, the action was contemplated on the back of several bodies, right from the Women's Commission, citizens groups, Cine groups, to the INB ministry, making it very clear that enough is enough. That in the name of free speech, the laws of the land cannot be rendered toothless. Now, viewers, you see, this has been happening for many years. It happens in different contexts also. Political speeches laden with hate, etc. A lot of people get away with everything. But sometimes, viewers, it gets too much. And the straw breaks. And those that are left holding the can have to pay for it. This is exactly what's happened. It just got so much that there has been a reaction. And people are revolted. And now they want action. But over the last few days, following the sordid episode, the discourse is being hijacked by those advocating for some amount of leniency. They say don't single them out. They've apologized. बहुत कह दिया उसने. He's come out and said that I'm really sorry. I won't do it again. I'll be a good boy. This is what is heard now most often. And they also say that it's been going on for so long. These people are being made scapegoats. There's a political consideration at work here. One of them was rewarded by the Modi government. But viewers, the Modi government itself and others, BJP state governments now want action against these people. They don't care whether they awarded them, rewarded them. Maybe they were misled and these chaps got these awards. And now, enough is enough. Obviously, this chorus for going easy on the transgressors has sparked a debate and prompted many questions. For example, is awarding an exemplary punishment, including jail time, the only way to stem the rot? Some people say no. How does applying criminal laws of the land against indecency amount to censoring free speech? I don't understand that. Some people will say, oh, because the law is framed in a way that it leaves for subjective interpretation. Well, we'll ask those questions. Can influencers be trusted to regulate themselves when the entire revenue model is built upon pushing limits to garner views? If professionals in the formal media are subject to punitive action, including deplatforming, why shouldn't digital influencers be regulated too and deplatformed? Have all those who've been asking the government to water down punitive stipulations in proposed laws weakened the fight against filth and slander? These are some fundamental questions. Let me tell you, viewers, there's breaking news coming in. Samay Raina, who was one of those who was sitting alongside Allahbadia and who is actually the host of this deranged show, he has broken his silence. This depraved show, this show that mainstreams filth into the minds of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, because anyone above 20 viewers, maybe even anyone above 12 can't watch this crap. But anyhow, viewers, let me tell you, Samay Raina has broken his silence and he says everything that is happening has been too much for me to handle. I have removed all India Got Latent videos from my channel. My only objective was to make people laugh and have a good time. I will fully cooperate with all agencies to ensure the inquiries are concluded fairly, unquote. Viewers, there's not even an admission of wrongdoing. There's not even an acknowledgement that I did something wrong. I'm sorry I caused so many people so much pain. He says the only pain that has been caused is to his own well-being. It's for too much for me to handle. Well, sir, when you were abusing, cackling away, think about the filth you inflicted on innocent minds. Imagine what it was like for them to hear this and bear it. That's what you should have been apologizing about. Ranveer Allahbadia, when he apologized, he said, oh, you know, it was an error of judgment. Does he think we are fools? that joke that he sort of asked, that incest-laden, horrible, filthy, vulgar-minded joke, viewers, was borrowed from another show. He knew exactly what he was doing, why he was doing it, to get views, and that show got some 23 million views or some absurd number like that, which also tells us how many people out there put up with putrid nonsense. Hopefully it was all after the controversy hit the airwaves and people out of curiosity went to hear it. I hope that is the actual reason. But let's open this up. We have a panel here. We want to ask some fundamental questions too. And I want to begin with Subhashtra on this. Subhashtra, this is a fundamental question. A stint in jail is perhaps best to stem the rot. Some people are saying that's what should happen to these people. We need to make an example. Unfortunately, these are the scapegoats. People like it or they can lump it.
Rahul, in my opinion, punishing anybody in this matter or, having a conversation is really not going to solve the issue at a fundamental level. Because there are ethical concerns with respect to blue humor and dark humor that we need a conversation about. And I don't think in the din of what is going on right now, anybody is even interested in pushing that conversation forward. Look at how Samay, for example, responded right now. And look at how Allahbadia responded. And you're absolutely correct. Somebody, when knowingly indulges in a humor like that, calls it humor, I don't even know if it's humorous, if it was humorous in the very first place, then there are these ethical questions about appropriateness, about context, about social responsibility, and about harm that we must be talking about. I really don't know the solution to this, because these youngsters who are out there in the open cracking these jokes and cackling as if it's nobody's business are perhaps too completely away from social realities. Perhaps they don't even know the kind of influence their work has on the minds of these 12-year-olds and 20-year-olds.
Oh no, I think they do.
They
are not interested in influencing. You see, they're interested in getting views.
Absolutely.
It's a clickbait kind of model.
And I think they're completely unapologetic about their business decision in that sense. I think the way to go forward in this entire situation is ask these people. I don't know how. I mean, if you have a lawyer in the panel, we might be able to suggest these people should be banned from any kind of content, putting out any kind of content in the public for a stipulated period of time, and they should actually serve as caregivers in society with the age groups that they have been able to
poison.
I don't want to use the word morally.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but God knows what they've done.
The kind of influence they've had on these 12-year-old, 13-years olds.
Yeah, because these 13-year-olds, these 14-year-olds, Subhashtra, will think it's cool. You see, this is a new word, cool. You see, it's cool, bro. It's cool to do what this character is asking people to actually do. So let's open this up. Dr. Ranganathan, look, let me just bring you in on this because, fine, you might disagree with jailing people, etc., snatching their liberty for their free speech, their right to free speech. But let me just ask you, fundamentally, there are certain things that have evolved over time. For example, anchors, if they cross a particular line, are deplatformed. We have an industry body. We also have laws, of course. In the past, one particular anchor cooked up some fake news. He was asked by his organization not to anchor for about a month or so, whatever it was. He was also apologetic. There were many, many things that happened. There was no conditional apology. There was a complete deplatforming, etc. But there were others who have done worse, but they were back. So I don't know, should there be a formal set of punitive measures now in place that dissuades people from doing this?
Rahul, you know me, you've known me for years, and you know me that I absolutely adore you. You challenge me with your intelligent arguments. So please permit me for the next minute and a half or what you've granted me to really confront you, because I take it as an honor and a challenge.
Yeah,
you
sure.
talk about rhetorically when you were talking with Subhashtra that is it cool? Is it cool? Is it cool for this country to anoint someone as a Mahatma who, when he was 76
hang on. Doctor, I don't want to go there, please. There are certain holies in the... No, see, I agree with you. that
Rahul,
you
may I
know,
respond to? May
no,
I
no, one
respond
second.
to
I don't want
Dr.
to know that.
Anand?
I don't want to bring up,
Okay,
the person.
I won't bring,
Because
I won't bring the good.
I don't want my platform to become a part of that kind of discourse. So forget that.
Right.
We can take
Yeah.
this conversation somewhere else. We can have it offline. We can speak on the telephone, etc. But please do respect that. But make your larger point. I know that you're getting at the
Just talk
fact that
about
there is
life.
hypocrisy.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's talk about the line that you mentioned, moving away from the hypocrisy that has already been exposed. Now, Rahul, who draws that line? That is the problem. If I were to give you some classics of cinema, for example, Pasolini's 120 Days of Sodom or Brando's Last Tango in Paris, would you call them pornography? At the time when they came out, yes, they were banned. Many people called them pornography. But then those very people forced Alan Turing, the father of computing and the man who won Britain the war, to commit suicide because homosexuality was considered illegal. For whom is something that is legal? For whom is it illegal? It is an absolute gray area. And this is the problem I have with people trying to determine what is right and what is wrong. And this is the problem if we get into.
To you, I would say, for right or wrong. You see, we are having a philosophical now conversation. For right or wrong, there are a certain set of laws that govern public behavior. We may agree with them, we may not agree with them. There are laws like sedition, we may agree with them, we may not agree with them. We may agree with their remit, we may not agree with their remit. But they're there on the books. Now, if they're there on the books, should they be applied? That's the fundamental question.
They can be applied, but that's superfluous because they are bad laws.
Okay, that's a different debate. As I said, that's a philosophical debate. My point is, we can move for reform. But as of now, those laws are on the books. And that's why I framed that question, that how does applying criminal laws of the land as they exist today against indecency amount to censoring free speech? Now, these people are not some babes in the wood. You know what they have said? Jay Anant, they have said that these shows were not scripted. So whatever falls on our little tongue that wags too much, it is expressed. It's almost as if you have Tourette's syndrome.
Yeah.
We can't control our tongue. Now,
my profuse apologies to interrupt Jay again, but just 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And Jay would know this. Rahul, there is no law in India against incest.
Okay, so all that is fine. Indecency there is, and you can then get into whether it applies, whether qualitatively all of this falls under the loosely worded law of indecency, etc., etc. But I think that the court will have to look at. The charges will be framed. An FIR has already been filed under certain sections of the BNS. Now, Jay, I want to ask you this question, and we also have another lawyer with us, Susiben Shah. She's representing another point of view on this debate. I want to ask you, if there is a law, it is against indecency, should it be applied in full measure against these gents and that lady on the show?
Rahul, very quickly, just 3 points. Look, at the outset, I agree with you. If there is a law, it has to be applied. But here's the kicker. The penal code as it stands today only talks about obscenity. It doesn't talk about what is vulgar. Now, I personally might have found everything that was said on that show to be grotesque, vulgar, absolutely repulsive. But does it satisfy the test of it being obscene? That is the question. Because
So this is a fact. Now, let me ask you.
Yes.
There was a reference made where a sexual proposition was made backed with a bribe, with money. With an incentive.
Fellatio was offered basically for a sum of money is basically what was done.
Yes.
It was disgusting beyond belief.
Is that indecent?
Well, I would say it was
Is that
vulgar.
an indecent proposal?
I would say it was extremely vulgar. I agree with you. It was
Vulgar.
indecent, it was vulgar. But, one moment. But the context, Rahul, very important. The context was a comedy show. And so, therefore, would it attract the provisions of sections 294 and 296? As a criminal lawyer, I can tell you with great certainty, given the case law that exists, the jurisprudence that is on record, it would not satisfy the test of obscenity.
Okay.
So, therefore, if I were a high court lawyer hearing this and if it were sent to me for quashing, I would throw it out immediately. And basically, I would say that this is disgusting.
So let me bring in Susiben Shah to give you a counter view. If she agrees with you, great. If she doesn't, then I have...
One thing very quickly, sorry, if I may. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Ranganathan also very rightly said, incest. Now, please understand, this was not even in the act of incest, right? I mean, of course, this was now a discussion about incest. So again, this comes into the definition of it being vulgar. but certainly not obscene. The context was that this is a comedy show. What should happen, and what I do agree with you very vehemently, is there has to be regulation. If you can be regulated, Rahul, why is it that these shows
so I'll come to that aspect. I'll come because there needs to be some sort of deterrence. I think we've crossed certain limits of civility, let alone anything else. I don't care about, other epithets. But yes, Suzy Ben Shah, yes. Nothing can happen to these people. They know it. That's why they're not even apologetic. They'll be off the screen for about 10, 12 days. Their followers, in fact, let me tell you, I did tweet, I looked at it. They haven't lost significant number of followers either. Their business model is in place. There'll be advertisements coming. There'll be lots of people. It'll be circus as usual or drama as usual with a little bit of moderation. That's about it.
Yeah, good evening to all, and with respect to my dear friend, my legal colleague, Jai, you see, the law evolves as the society progresses, as the power of social media progresses. I have faith in the judiciary that in this particular place, in this particular case, a precedent will be set and they will be booked under obscenity. Now, let me tell you one more thing. We are a free speech state. Yes, but the Supreme Court has said that it should be exerted with responsibility and abundant caution. Did this 5 idiots, pardon me using that word, did they show any cautious? Secondly, it was on YouTube. Now, YouTube is all about self-certification, right? Now, if your show is vulgar and the kind of language that you speak across sections, whether it be family, whether it be people with less able people, young children, you should have marked the show as A. Then it would have.
I think someone was telling me that was done.
It was not done at all.
Okay, it wasn't done.
That is the grey area. It is not done. And therefore, children, families sit together and what they show.
Right.
Now, you tell me, when a family sits together, when parents with their children sit together and with a loose, vulgar, obnoxious comments are made, does it not amount to obscenity? I think beyond a shadow of doubt.
Just one question.
And I'm sure our public prosecutor will defend it and win this case.
Okay.
With great respect.
Okay, Dr. Ranganathan, quick question, and then Subhashra wraps this out. Yes, I'm running out of time.
I'm
Yes.
counting on
Just to
guide us properly, guide the viewers properly.
Okay. Yes.
Just
Dr. Ranganathan, yes, make your point. Yeah.
just to point out how difficult it is to draw the line when you talk about obscenity. Can I ask, the Shiv Sena spokesperson, Ms. Shah, whether Shushen yes, whom I have great respect for, is exposing yourself in public obscene, yes or no?
Yes, it is.
Right. So you have the most glorious Indian civilization. No, please, 1 second.
It is the mindset also.
Please, Rahul, I have a huge...
Okay. Subhashra coming in.
Can I finish? Can I just finish my point?
Look, I'll just take cue from Dr. Ranganathan and just have a limited point to make. I don't think we need articulations in English and articulation in the English language with the English cultural context in mind to talk about freedom of expression. Blue humor and dark humor have long been a part of human expression, folk expression in India. But always the context matters. It depends on the context, depends on the intent.
Well, viewers, I just want to say,
when you're putting out your content on YouTube, and you're opening up yourself for consumption by
30 seconds I have. I've been told by the director. 30 seconds, Dr. Ranganathan.
1 second.
1 second. Yes.
I cannot. Ms. Shah, please.
Doctor.
Because,
Go ahead.
According to Ms. Shah, exposing yourself in public is obscene. So what she's saying is the most glorious embodiment of Hindu civilization, those amazing Naga sadhus, have committed an obscenity.
Okay. Look, viewers, I want to be very, very clear here. We can constantly quibble over the definition of laws and their applicability, but we all know right from wrong. It doesn't require much. Law is actually based on some common sense values. And here there is a line that has been crossed. Now we need to evolve a regulation to prevent it from being breached again. What that is, I don't know. But at this moment in time, viewers, these people are going to face the full consequences. The process can be worse than the punishment. Perhaps that for now suffices. I leave it at this, viewers. Vantage coming up with Palki Sharma.